And I talked about it a little bit before, but like your phones recognize your face. Why does it recognize your face? Because of the placement and size of things. Mostly that placement. So if you draw the most beautiful eye I've ever seen, and you put it in the wrong spot, it's not going to look like you. If you draw a poor to fair eye, but it's the right size, and it's in the right place, then you've got a really good shot at being accurate. So the number one thing for me is make sure you're in the right box. Count them, label them, mark them, whatever you have to do. Don't draw an eye in the middle of your forehead. Don't draw an eye down where your nose is supposed to be. I say it a lot, it still happens. Next, I want everybody to think back to when we were working with the bottle. And everybody should just put their pencils down and watch what I'm doing for a little bit. When we drew the bottle, we drew a rectangle first. And why a rectangle? Well, we wanted to identify the proportions of the entire thing. How big was it going to be? And that's the same thing we want to do here. We want to try to figure out how big the eye is going to be. I'm drawing a horizontal line just where the eyelashes start, where the wet part of the eye meets the eyelid, not the eyelid itself. Her eye happens to, basically, the white of it just ends right on the red line, so I don't have to really draw anything. I'm using where the white of the eye ends. I'm going to look down here, where the wet part of the eye just touches the bottom eyelid, not the whole lid. And then down over here, I'm going to use right where the little tear duct ends. Now, when we're looking at maybe the other side of the eye, you might not be able to see that, okay? If you don't see it, you don't draw it. If you don't see that edge of your eye, this is the opportunity where you ask me to come in and tell you where it is and help you find it, all right? I can make up things. I've done enough that I know the anatomy of where it should be, and I can set that up for you. But otherwise, we should just be using where the eye goes. Then, before we try to draw an eye, and I really stress this, let's block this out. And that was really what we were doing on that first project. We want to use the same idea and the same technique to do this. We want to look at where does the top of this eye end of this box. Most of this, more than half of it, is eyebrow and eyelid areas above the eye. The lower, maybe 40%, 60, 40, is the eye. So when I decide this and approximate that, I want to kind of try to get that to be true. The biggest thing that people do is they just try to draw the eye and make it fit in the box. Once again, if you draw the most perfect eye in the world, and it is in the wrong spot, it's too big or too small, it really doesn't matter how good you drew it, okay? Now that I have this rectangle here, no matter how many attempts it takes me to draw this, and it might take me 3 or 4, I might have to come back and erase and redraw it. No matter how many times I draw it, it's going to have to fit in this box if my measurements are correct. One of the things that people do, especially for the first time working on a project like this, over and over and over again, is they tend to try to make their eyes really big. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of anime. I don't know. But people just, they want to make their eyes really, really big. And they want to make their nose really, really small. I don't know if that has to do with like the Kardashians or whoever else is out there, but like, you know, they just keep shrinking and shrinking their nose. The thing I'll remind you all is that the drawing we're doing is 6 or 7 times bigger than your actual face. The printout in front of you is even a little bit larger than your actual real face. Don't try to think about like, oh, I need to make this bigger, I need to make it smaller. Focus on where does it fit in this box, how big is it, okay? And then where is the placement within that box? After that, the shape is an afterthought. One of the things that I want you to also consider as you're doing the actual iris part of the eye, the color part of the eye, is that, you know, if you see your pupil like she does in this particular picture, well, go ahead and draw it. If you don't see it and it's all dark, don't draw it. Look at the size of the whites of the eyes. Look at how much space is there for it. Look at that and try to compare that to what you're seeing. Try again to sort of see where does that intersect on the actual picture. You may have to redraw this 20 times. You might need to have me come over and help you. But one of the things you should all be doing, and if you're unsure, is asking me, hey, did that rectangle that I just draw, is that in the right spot? And what I want you to consider too is just because this is the placement here and the size here, it has no bearing on what the other eye is doing. In this picture, the face is tilted ever so slightly. We can all see that this eye starts up a bit higher. This eye might even be closed a little bit more than the other one. Everything changes. So when I start working on this one, again, I'm going to make sure I'm in the right boxes, and I'm going to look to place it first. We're going to use similar techniques for the eye, for the nose and the mouth, but please wait for me to show you guys that tomorrow and the next day. I feel like do a little bit, but do it right. Do it correct, and take your time in finding that placement. Don't try to make one side match the other. Just focus on the boxes in the picture. The biggest mistake anybody can make is not spending as much time looking at the photo as they are the actual drawing itself. And again, if you draw these little rectangles, I can always come around and check those rectangles fairly quickly and let you know if you're on the right track or on the wrong track. Nothing should be shaded in at this point. Everything we're going to shade in is later on, and that's going to be done with charcoal. And in terms of using charcoal, what I will tell you is that charcoal and pencil don't really mix well together. So if you do shade it in pencil, you're only creating more work for yourself to erase later on. The other things that you can draw in and around the eye, most likely you're going to see a crease or an edge on the eyelid itself, the fold. You want to see how much space is there really between the top of the eye and that fold. It's going to be higher or lower. Your eyebrows, we don't need to draw them in. I really don't want you to shade them in, but you can make some light indications on your page approximately where they are. This will be helpful later on when we're doing the charcoal. We'll add them in later. For someone like this that has very light eyebrows on this side, I would do a very light sort of drawing of what's there. I wouldn't make a dark outline of that. On other photos that may have darker eyebrows, I would draw it. But if you don't see an edge, don't make an edge. And that's drawing the eye, ladies and gentlemen. Take your time. If you did 2 eyes in the rest of this period, I think you'd be a superstar. So don't bite off more than you can chew.